How's it going, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to round 4 for my locals this past weekend. We've got Sky Strikers on the left versus Prank Kids on the right here at Table 1. Same Prank Kids player that got first last weekend. If you guys want to see his deck profile, there'll be a link to it up in the top right of the video, or one down in the description if I remember to put it there. So if you guys want to see his list, it's on the channel if you want to check it out at some point. But we're going to be getting into this match here very shortly, but let's take a look at the poll results from the other day. I asked you guys who you thought was going to win, and about 68% of you guys said Prank Kids was going to win, and 32% saying Striker, out of just about, 800 votes as I'm recording this. So let's see if you guys are correct. You were correct in the last round, which I'll link that video up in the top right as well. So it looks like Prank Kids winning the dice roll here by 1, I believe. So, of course, they'll get to go first here in this situation. They're going to start with the place. That is going to add red. Then we'll activate Pranks. Pranks discarding green to go ahead and summon a token. Then normal summoning the red and going in for a Link 2 immediately instead of going for the standard Meow play. And I can get why he did that. Probably to play around the Ash since he can't chain block with place this turn because his opponent has no monsters. So that was definitely a smart play there. But the Imperm is going to hit the Doodle, preventing him from getting directly to a Pandemonium. And yeah, I think he thought he was resolving green there, but he's resolving red. But red's just going to summon green. He's going to link into another Doodle. That's the thing that's so crazy about Doodle, is that you can just make multiples if the first one gets negated. That's why Imperm I don't think is that great against Pranks going second like this. Like, it's not that good in their opening combo. It's good for the Butler, but they're not usually going to summon the Butler immediately to play into the Imperm. So, I mean, obviously, as we know, Bell is probably a lot better in this particular matchup, but if you had to Imperm one thing, I would say going for the Doodle probably makes the most sense. And that will actually do it for our Prank Kids player's turn. Just adding 2 back off the Doodle and setting a couple back row. One of them we can, expect to be Pandemonium. Striker starting, of course, by starting normal summoning Ray. Then going for 15 into the battle phase. Hayate gets in another 15. Just like that, 3,000 damage. And going ahead and Foolish. 1 copy of the multi-roll, and we're going to see him link probably into Kagari here to attempt to add that back, and we'll see if it'll resolve. The Kagari is met with an Imperm though, so no multi-roll here. Now just going to go right into Shizuku, set 1 back row, perhaps maybe set another, and set 3, and proceed to the end phase, where he's going to go ahead and use Shizuku to go ahead and search, of course, for a copy of Engage. If you don't have it now, might as well get it and have it for next turn. Offers the cut and passes turn. Prank Kid starting by normal summoning red and linking into Meow here now that he's already got kind of a setup. Doesn't need to worry about losing to Ash here in this instance, especially since he can chain block with place now. So it'll be chain link 1 red, chain link 2 place. He'll burn for another 5. All of his monsters will lose 500 attack and defense. I believe 500 attack and defense. And the red will summon a blue to the field. Now, if you are the Prank Kids player here, there's really not much that you're worried about. You're not really worried about Anchor. You're not worried about there can be only one if it's main decked. But you are definitely worried about Nibiru. Nibiru is definitely a card that can hurt Prank Kids quite a bit. But yeah, looks like he's going to go ahead and link blue and Meow into Bow Wow Bark here. And we're going to see blue summon green. And I guess there's another thing to say about this matchup in particular, too, is that Battle Butler is very, very susceptible to Widow Anchor. So your main best boss monster here is, like, highly at risk for not resolving, which can be kind of problematic here. And it's not like one deck can like main or side a Floodgate better than the other, because both of these decks play very well under there can be only one. So this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup here. Definitely a big grinder. And yeah, Pandemonium gets activated, and it's in the same column as a set Imperm. Yeah, might as well just burn the Imperm there if it means shutting off a Pandemonium, but he will have a Thunder Dragon Fusion to follow up. Thunder Dragon Fusion is a incredible card in this deck. I understand some people don't play it, but it definitely seems so good. The resource recursion and going into a Battle Butler, so incredibly nice here. Not to mention the follow-up it offers the next turn by adding a copy of Fansies to the hand. So he's going to go ahead and establish Butler right now, because I guess why not? I guess you're going to really force them to have a Widow Anchor, and if they don't have it, you're going to stick a lot of damage. And it looks like we'll see the place effect activate here. I think all of his monsters are going to get a boost here, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, he's going to go to the battle phase. Butler will swing over the Shizuku for a little bit of damage, and that will, of course, trigger Ray. He'll attempt to attack into Ray, where Ray will tag out into Kaina, targeting Bow Wow Bark, making it so it can't attack, I believe, until the end of his opponent's next turn, which is really, really strong here, preventing some excess damage. One of the primary reasons why the Striker deck can grind so long is because cards like Kaina. We're going to see him use Shark Cannon here, and that's going to banish one of the targets for the Prank Kid's pranks, making so it will not resolve here. He'll gain 1,000 off of the Kaina, and Battle Butler going to activate here in the end phase, also getting rid of the Kaina. And Sky Striker starting with Engage. It's met with an Ash. That you gotta Ash that. You can't let that go through here in this situation. Both players, especially on low card advantage, you do not want them to start resolving something like Engage. And it looks like we're gonna see Anchor activate here. So we're gonna go ahead and try to hit the Bow Wow, but of course he will chain and tag out to go ahead and add back a Doodle, or not a Doodle. Looks like a Kid and a Pandemonium. Now going for Widow Anchor, another copy, stealing one of his Prank Kid's monster, normal summoning Ash to go into Hulk, summoning out Valor, going into Celine Access Code. Here we go. Yet again, the most splashable OTK engine in the game currently, thanks to all the hand traps in the game being tuners. But luckily for our Prank Kid's player, this isn't going to be game. The access code is at 53, but it is not quite enough, dropping his opponent down to 700. And might as well be 17 because of the dropsies that we know is probably going to resolve on his next turn. And yeah, that'll do it for our Sky Striker player. No cards on field, no cards set other than that access code. And Prank Kid starting with Thunder Dragon Fusion to go ahead and add any Thunder monster from the deck to the hand. And he's going to go ahead and search the green as expected, but starting by normal summoning red, linking into Meow, and red will summon blue to the board. So we could probably go ahead and establish a Doodle here. I mean, there isn't much standing in the way of our Prank Kid's player right here. There isn't much of a board to try to play through. It's just, can you out a 5,300 monster? And even if you can't, can you prevent your opponent swinging in for lethal next turn, which is going to be so easily done since the deck plays so many link monsters. They can't obviously go to defense. You can't block damage in that way. You have to find a different way to do it. We're going to see Pandemonium get played here. It's going to go for the Rocket Ride. He's going to go ahead and gain that 1,000 back as expected, putting him up to 17, which is definitely going to help out quite a bit. You'd rather be at 17 than 700 in this situation. And we're going to see Roxy's hit the board, I think, for the first time this entire game. And looks like sending a copy of Place here to summon another red off of green. So, I mean, Battle Butler is really your only hope, but I think he's already gone through his Battle Butler at this point. And the only way he's going to be able to get it back is if he can recycle it with pranks, which means waiting one more turn, and I don't necessarily know if you have one more turn at this point. He's going to go ahead and play pranks, set one, which is most likely Pandemonium here. You have to. And just hope that you can resolve a Battle Butler next turn without a hitch. Because if you can clear the access code, you've bought yourself a little more time. But the tricky thing here is, though, that the access code, when it goes to blow up a card, it can't be responded to. So you've got to find a window to be able to use that effect of Pandemonium earlier than that, if possible. And our Prank Kid's player, seeing if there's anything else he can do at this point. A Boral Sword would be really good, but he did have to use Pandemonium, unfortunately, which locked him into Prank Kids only. I'm not sure if there was a way for him to possibly get to access code, because I do believe he is on the card. Going for an access code of his own would have been very, very helpful. May or may not have been game in this situation. He is at 5,600, but I don't know if he would have been able to burn him without using the Pandemonium. But we're going to see Pranks activate here in the end phase, recycling Battle Butler as one of those cards and a couple other cards back to the main deck. He'll pick up a draw here, and you just kind of got to hope for the best. So Sky Striker drawing for turn. Only one card in hand, it looks like. So not much to work with here, but looks like we're going to see Bow Wow in the standby phase activate, tributing off that Meow Mew instead. So that's going to get a very, very weak body off the field, but it's not going to matter because he can just start a main phase, access code, banish Hayate, pop the set Pandemonium, and he cannot respond to it. Which, yeah, it's going to spell a game right then and there. If he would have had another set card, maybe he could have been able to bluff, but I think he had plenty of fodder in the grave. Actually, no. If he had another set card, I think he would have been in a good position there, but it is what it is. We're on to game 2. Striker up 1 game here, and as they get things started, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist, guys. Check them out at the link below. They sell all sorts of amazing TCG accessories, very high quality ones, and you can get all for 10% off using my discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout. Save 10% off your entire order, and please don't forget to use my TCG Player affiliate link down in the description below. You'll find it in the description of all my videos. Very, very easy way to support the channel for cards you're already going to be buying. So getting back to the game here, our Prank Kids player is going to normal red, use place, or Pranks to summon a token, and link right into Doodle Doo to start things off. Very similar to what we saw at the start of game 1, opting not to just go right into the Meow Mew, trying to probably play around some interruptions. And it looks like he's going to follow that up with a copy of Place. It's met with MST. What a throwback. Shoutouts to MST.TV. So MST on Place. No search there. No attack boost or attack loss. No chain blocking there. Very, very good card to have hit by an MST. And I think I see a Nibiru in our Sky Striker player's hand. So a very looming threat here as we see an Instant Fusion get activated. I find in general, aside from Ghost Bell, the Nibiru to be a very, very, very good hand trap against the deck, because if you can get things like Doodle off the board, before they have a chance to get those resources back to their hands, like the Place or the Pandemonium, and then the kids to make it live, they often don't have much of a play on your turn. Unless they open up a bunch of extenders, but he's already exhausted one here at this point in the turn in the form of Instant Fusion. So he's probably trying to go ahead and establish Toad, but I don't know if he would have been able to get there in time for that 5th summon. But looks like he does have some sort of a follow-up here in the form of Pandemonium. Going into Rocket Ride, he'll get the Nibiru token, and he's going to get to summon off of one of the Prank Kids that he sent, which I believe was the Dropsies. And that is going to summon out Fancy. So he's not left with nothing here completely. And I believe our Prank Kids player is on a little bit of some spice, if you will, for this specific situation. I'm not sure if we'll see it this turn. It looks like we won't. He's just going to try to play it conservative here. Using Pranks in the end phase, recycling 3 to go ahead and draw 1. And that'll do it for his turn. Sky Striker looks like has quite the hand. There's Rhoda. Very, very good card to have. And he's going to go ahead and ash that, denying him Ray access. It's exactly the card you do not want them to have right now. And that Nibiru is not doing our Sky Striker player too much good right now because he cannot activate the engage that's sitting in his hand. He's just going to go into the battle phase and clear the token and hand it back over to our Prank Kids player, using that Nibiru to his advantage. And starting by normaling a Prank, linking into Meow, dumping a copy of Place to go ahead and summon out Blue, and now going into Doodle. He's going to gain 1,000 here off of Blue to summon out another kid. We'll see what he goes for here. Now, this is the time to go ahead and try to apply a lot of pressure. The Nibiru is in the main monster zone, locking up any Sky Striker spell or traps. Sky Striker spells he may have set. So this is the perfect time to try and play and, get your engine going and establish a really strong board. But, you got to watch out for another Nibiru. But I guess if he has another Nibiru, it means his hand isn't that great to begin with if he's had 2 Nibiru's in hand. So I guess it's not such a huge threat at this point. And, you know, he'll still have another Nibiru on his field that is going to prevent him from playing striker spells. And especially if you can keep him off Ray, that's even better. Because it's one of the only ways he's going to be able to get rid of the Nibiru, of course, unless he finds like multi-roll or area 0 to go ahead and get rid of it. But Place getting MST'd again. Shout out to MST TV. No place here for him, denying him access to more extenders. And he's just going to go ahead and default back to Pranks, End Phase, Recycle 3, and Draw. Not a great position to be in here, but certainly not a terrible one. And our Sky Striker player is correct, starting with that copy of Area 0, and it does find him a copy of Afterburners. That must have been a really, really strong top deck right there. Going to be able to play Engage now. And I'm not sure if he actually has 3 spells engraved right now. I know there's a Rhoda in there. Yeah, he does have 3 spells. So we'll go ahead and get a draw. Looks like he picked up a copy of Effect Valor. Should definitely come in handy at some point. Normal Summoning Ray. And linking into Kagari. He's probably going to go back and try to retrieve that Engage. And it will get added back to hand. No DD Crow here. No Bell. No Valor. No Imperm. You gotta hate to see it. Engage is going to go ahead and resolve one more time. And, yeah, that's going to go ahead and add Afterburners here, which could get a lot of value. We know Pandemonium is probably one of the cards that is set right now. We'll go ahead and get another draw. He's going to play the Afterburner. And as expected, we're going to see him chain Pandemonium. Essentially, making it so that the Afterburner will fizzle. He's going to be able to go into Weather Washer, though. No Battle Butler here, which is unfortunate to see, but he's going to be able to go into Weather Washer, which isn't terrible. I believe, I'm not sure how this would work, but I know Weather Washer does some things in the damage calc, but, you know, preventing things from activating, but I think that's only when their Prank Kids monsters attack, so that's not going to stop Hayate here, unfortunately. So linking the Kagari into Hayate. Hayate will swing in for 15 directly, and that's going to go ahead and dump another copy of Area 0. And I think both engages actually drew him into hand traps here, Valor being the first one and Nibiru being the second, which is absolutely just bonkers here in this situation. We're going to have to see our Prank Kids player play through another Nibiru, which is going to be very, very rough. That's why Engage is so insane. It's basically Pot of Greed, where you get to choose one of the cards that comes to your hand. Yeah, I mean, as we know, just ridiculous card. End Phase Shizuku, adding back multi-roll, but we're also going to see an End Phase Twin, discarding red, hitting the 2 set. One being an Afterburner, and was unable to tell what the other one is. But, you know, very, very good End Phase Twin Twister there. And we're going to see him tag out into 2 more, using Meow Mew Engrave to keep some board presence here, keeping that Weather Washer on the field. And starting by normal summoning green, linking into Meow. And we'll see what he's going to go ahead and send here. Looks like another copy of Place. And summoning out Toad, or another Dropsies to go into Toad, which is really good here to be able to establish Toad. To be able to play around that Nibiru, which hurt him so much in the previous turn. So now that he's got Toad established, he's probably feeling a bit more safe in this particular instance. Now, the question is, does he need to keep extending? That is the real question. Weather Washer is going to keep him off of Ray coming back here, but it looks like we're going to see an Effect Valor just get activated here in the main phase on Totally Awesome. And that could pose a bit of an issue. Because now, if he decides to keep extending, he does not have a way to stop the Nibiru. Doodle's going to tag to add to Pandemonium in Place among those cards. I'm going to go ahead and activate Place. And no search. Just going to go ahead and normal out green. And link into Bow Wow. That's going to trigger Place to go ahead and drop his Shizuku by 5. And now we're going to see Nibiru yet again. That is extremely rough. For a second there, I thought he doubled normal summon, but he used one of the monsters he brought back off the Weather Washer to link into Meow Mew first. and then used his normal summon there a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, hindsight is 2020. I don't think he needed to extend it that far. I feel like you just have your Weather Washer, you have your Toad, you can just go into battle phase, and you don't need to worry about anything else. Like, you already have a really solid board. But, I mean, it is what it is. Now we're seeing some of that extra deck spice come into play, linking into Linkuriboh and Link Spider to go into Anaconda. Pay 2K to go ahead and FTK. No, that reminds me of the last video, the comments that you guys left for all your pay 2K mannerisms. And I very much appreciate that. So thank you guys for leaving all those comments. It was very, very entertaining to read. But not going for Dragoon here in this particular instance. Sending Thunder Dragon Fusion to gain access to Battle Butler and to recycle 3 in the process. And that will trigger Place. Place is going to boost Anaconda and Butler by 500 respectively. And it looks like we're going to see him go ahead and activate Pranks here in the end phase, recycling Washer and 2 kids back to the main deck. And our striker player is in a similar position where he has a monster in his main monster zone, but it's not going to matter too much here because he's already got Area 0 in play. And if it doesn't miss, you know, things could get out of hand very, very quickly. Engage is engraved, ready to be added back off of Kagari. And he goes ahead and grabs a Widow Anchor. He's cracked. Battle Butler's worst nightmare here in this instance. Yeah, that's just going to force it out immediately. Not much you can do there. So he takes the Battle Butler, activates Roll, sends off the Area 0, and that's going to go ahead and get him Ray access here to be able to potentially link off this Battle Butler so it does not return to his opponent's field in the end phase. It's going to go into the battle phase to swing over for 2,500 and 15 from the Ray. Ray tags out because why not go for a little more damage here? And actually, Kagari could pretty much be lethal here. He does have a lot of spells engrave, and he's going to go for the Kagari. Kagari is going to add back. Now, I think when I went back and calculated this, yeah, this was very, very interesting. If he would not have added back off of Kagari here, which I know sounds crazy, he would have won this very instant because Kagari would be at 2,500, but instead playing it safe, which I got to give props to, adding back the engage and only swinging in for 24, leaving his opponent at 100 life. Main phase 2, activating engage, going to go ahead and add Widow Anchor, which we already know how good of a card that is in this matchup. But mainly, primarily for stopping the Butler. Draws into another Nibiru. Is this the third Nibiru? Oh my god, absolutely savage. Now linking into Shizuku and setting one, which is the Widow. And it's going to go ahead and end phase, get a search off of the Shizuku. Checking the grave to see what striker cards he has in there and what he's going to be able to search. You could definitely grab Hornet Drones at this point. Going to go ahead and grab Shark Cannon. He's going to play Shark Cannon. And he's going to go ahead and get to banish one from grave, which is pretty strong, because anything he's banishing here with a Shark Cannon means he will not be able to get it back off of place. He could get rid of the Butler here, which could be really strong, getting rid of the deck's main boss monster, but getting rid of Meow Mew is also really good too. You know, makes his fusions have a lot less value. And resetting what looked to be Eagle Booster to the field off of multi-roll. Prank Kids drawing for turn. Normal summoning, I think that's blue. Normal summon is met with Widow Anchor. Is going to chain the Eagle Booster just so we can get more add-backs off of multi-roll in the end phase. And yeah, just takes the normal summon. Can't do much about that if you don't have any extenders. So he's just going to default end phase, go ahead and recycle 3, and we're going to see our striker player reset 2 Afterburners and Widow Anchor among those cards. And blue or green will return to his field. Sometimes, depending on the lighting, blue looks like green and green looks like blue, I swear. Am I crazy for thinking that? I don't know, man. It's like the way the hollow foil reflects in the light. It just makes one look like the other. But looks like we're going to see a very early Pandemonium here, going for Weather Washer. And it's going to go ahead and activate Weather Washer here as well, immediately, to go ahead and tag out to summon Bow Wow and another Prank Kid from the grave, burning his opponent for a little bit of damage here. But the ultimate question is, with being at 100 life points, can you stop a Kagari and I just don't know if that's possible here, unless he's got like the most clutch effect Valor on the planet. Yeah, I think this is just going to be game. There's the handshake, and Prank Kid's taking it 2-0. If you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And as always, I want to give a shout out to all of the members that support this channel, and a special thanks goes to our Divine level channel members who go above and beyond to support, and they're Cadillacs84, Pony Stark, and Keith Siggers. Thank you guys so much, as always, for the extremely generous support.